You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Hey, there we go. Good morning, everybody. I don't know why.
Are we still doing?
Oh, yeah, we have sound.
That was the delay on your Facebook,
That's
right?
it, yes. So, good morning, everybody. This is Terry. This is
I'm
Trey.
Trey.
And you're joining us on Get It Right Texoma. And
We always have our friend and podcast partner in the sky right up here, Mike Hendren. Actually, look right there. It's probably perfect if you look on the camera.
Yeah, he's right in between us.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, right there.
So, yep, we're here and live and every Friday morning, 7:30. And sometimes we're working on some stuff right before. But anyway.
But you can join us on Facebook or YouTube. And, of course, this morning's guest is Tobin McDuff.
Tobin McDuff.
Yes.
I was commented earlier. Do you remember McDuff's, the electronics store? Was that owned by Radio Shack?
I don't know.
No? Okay. Well, anyway, there used to be a place, so maybe they're related.
I bought a car stereo there one time.
Oh,
but Tobin's not from here, so I don't know.
Well, he might be secretly this super rich family that took the money and they closed. But anyway, I don't know. We'll ask him. So anyway, please comment and share this. We like to make sure we get the word out, and then also we'd like to hear your comments about how we're doing. Any topics, any comments on the particular show or whatever, just let us know. Guests,
any kind of suggestion on guests. Now we're booked out a little ways,
right?
But we can always get them on. I mean, we stay booked out a couple of months. Actually.
There you go. All right. So anyway, we always get started. Oh, and I missed the one thing. Let's get into it. This is Get It Right Texoma. I'm trying to make my little tagline thing.
There you go.
All right. So we start out with a local restaurant every time we talk about.
Hefe's Mexican restaurant. There are two locations, Wichita Falls on Southwest Parkway and in Henrietta, right on the square there in Henrietta.
Yes.
Both of them had the same great menus and great food.
Okay.
Really good. I actually had Hefe's last week. It's one of my go-tos for dinner.
Right.
Yeah, we did Gutierrez last time, and Gutierrez is kind of my go-to for if I'm going to have breakfast somewhere. But for dinner, it's Hefe's. And
okay.
Great food. Their tacos are really good. Their enchiladas are good. Their quesadillas, my wife loves the chicken quesadilla. Quesadilla is super good, and it's really big. There's a lot of times, like my wife will get a quesadilla plate, which comes with beans and rice, and a big quesadilla, and I'll just get two tacos, and then I'll just eat the two tacos and then have a little part of her quesadilla.
Right.
But they have family-style meals, so they have you. You can go in, sit down at the restaurant, or you could get it to go in the big takeout menus and meals and stuff like that. But all the food is great. Their queso is good. Their salsa is good as well.
Ah, okay. Well, cool.
And then they have drinks as well. They do have a full bar. I'm not a drinker, so I don't really know if their drinks are worth the darn. I'm sure they are since all their food is so good.
Yeah.
Service is great. They've been around
since 2008.
Yeah, been around a while.
So apparently Latin nights every first and third Saturday of the month, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
I don't know what that is. But
I don't either. But anyway, what other? I'm trying to find their location and hours.
Well, they're on Southwest Parkway.
Here we go. Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Except I guess on the first and third Saturdays, open a little longer. Sunday and Mondays are closed.
Yep, and they're out towards the end of Southwest Parkway, out there by Lake, right where it turns to Lake Park.
Okay.
Road.
Gotcha.
Out there.
All right. Well, yeah, I have. It's been a while since I've been there, but I do recall that very good menu.
Been all of about 10 days since I've been there.
Yeah. So all right.
That like I said, the little group of people I go to dinner with, kind of on a semi-regular basis. Yeah. That's kind of one of our go-tos.
All right. Well then, yeah. Well, again, a local place. We try to really focus on those.
That's
local,
it. We want to focus on local restaurants. By the way, we don't make a penny on it. Just so you know,
right?
Hefe's isn't paying us. I've never told. In fact, I didn't even say anything the last time I was there. But at times, what I'll do if we're going to have a local restaurant focus and I'll go somewhere, I pay the bill,
right? And
then I ask the manager, hey, we're going to talk about it. Is there anything you want me to talk about? And I didn't. I was busy, and it was during Icepocalypse, actually, when we went.
Okay.
And so anyhow, didn't ask him about it or anything like that. But this is 100% gratis. We do this. We don't do it to make any money.
Nope.
We don't do it for free meals. We don't do it for any other reason except for we want to focus on local restaurants.
There you go. All right. So what else is happening around?
Well, Riverbend Nature Center now, this is ironic. I got a text from Jenica Lambert last week at about 10 o'clock and said, oh, by the way, the parking lot is covered in ice. We can't do our butterfly grand opening celebration. And I said, whoops. I said, I announced it this morning about 3 hours ago. So anyhow, and she said, whoops. And I'm going, that's fine. We'll, they put a big thing on their website. They put a public announcement out. Yep. So we're going to announce it again. It is going to be tomorrow. We're not going to have to worry about ice.
Right. No.
But as where Riverbend Nature Center is, their parking lot just slopes up. It's up on a hill.
That'd be a little
and I can imagine it's like a luge. You could bobsled down.
Especially this time. Yeah. I mean, we had it ended up being about 2 to 3 inches of ice, of sleet that then stacked and packed. And
I just actually took my tractor in my store, and that's what we cleared out the store with the bucket on the tractor.
All right.
But anyhow, so the grand reopening celebration is going to happen tomorrow from 10 to 2, and there's a lot of stuff in the conservatory that's changing, and then as well as the butterfly exhibit, which is really phenomenal. I mean, butterflies are fascinating critters anyhow.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
But to go in there and see all the butterflies and the stages of their life cycle and stuff and see it all in one place is pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I remember, in school and talking about it and, how it, the whatever I don't remember. Don't test me on that. Yeah, is it that? Okay. And evolves and then, because they hang out like this and then they escape and then they off to fly. So, and they're all beautiful colors, though.
You said that was like your Wicked Witch of the West flying monkeys. Fly, monkeys, fly.
Oh, the flying monkeys. Oh, okay. Well, no. But anyway, be free. But anyway, all this, it's a really amazing thing. I mean, and we have our season just seeing it, out in real nature, but
out in the wild.
In the wild,
in your backyard or wherever.
It's like what we used to say in the here at Shepherd, it used to call the field out in the field, the real Air Force, but not here at, but the truth is this is real Air Force just in a training environment, but this is also, it's curated, it's under controlled conditions,
right.
But it's like a kind of the zoo-ish, but yet it's that building is amazing.
Oh,
as far as the glass, I mean, it's just it's just a cool place, and it's a perfect thing for them to do there. So.
Absolutely. Yep. So go check it out tomorrow, 10 to 2.
Yeah. All right. So.
And then Super Bowl Sunday. Which is coming up, and
it's the Scotland
sausage feed.
Right. So we've got the tab.
We have that every year. They have that every year. And it's been going on for quite a while. It actually was hard for me to find. Yeah. I haven't heard much about it. But anyhow, it's 11 to 2 at the Knights of Columbus Hall in Scotland, Texas. And by the way, Stevie Wonder can't miss that. I mean, it is. There's two things. There's Snooki's restaurant, and there's the Knights of Columbus Hall right there in Scotland, Texas. There's not much there. And so anyhow, German sausage meal. It is very famous for around this area. Right. You can buy raw sausage, you can buy cooked sausage, or you can go get a sausage plate, which it's sausage, sauerkraut, all the trimmings. I don't ever get that. I just get the sausage, so I don't really know what all's on the plate. But the sausage is unbelievable. It's the only place you can get it. It's the only time of the year you can get it. Yep. One time a year you get this sausage with this flavoring, and it's one of those ancient. Remember was it the Tide commercial, Ancient Chinese Secret, when we were kids, Yeah. It's an ancient secret or whatever, and only so many people know the recipe, and they do it one time a year. So I like to go and stock up. I'll go and buy, 6 or 7 pounds of raw and then just smoke it during the year.
Okay.
But it's great. It's another one of those, kind of like the Pancake Festival. You show up, you're going to bump into people
it's a community event.
It's a community event.
Absolutely.
And Scotland's only about 20 minutes away.
Yep.
From Wichita Falls, so it's not like it's out in the boonies or anything like that.
Not too deep in the boonies anyway.
And also, and if you want to go early, if you're interested in getting some great homemade desserts, there's 2 groups, women's auxiliary groups, that do like a bake sale, but you want to go early because that stuff sells out.
Fast,
the good stuff sells out in a hurry.
Yeah, let's see. Here we go. The official serving the best German sausage, sauerkraut with spare rib meat, all the trimmings, and a dessert. And then, if you get there soon enough.
Yeah. Well, no, the dessert. They have a bake sale as well.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to get the dessert with a meal when you buy a meal.
And then homemade baked goods.
Exactly.
For sale
they have a bake sale, which is phenomenal.
The Ladies of St. Boniface Parish. There you go.
There you go.
So, all right. Well, cool. I've always enjoyed that. So, all right. Let's see. Boys and Girls Club of Wichita Falls is entering a new chapter.
Yeah.
With its new CEO. So did we? No, I don't think I did that. Nope, we don't have that.
Yeah,
so
Rachel Wolf.
Rachel
Wolf is the new CEO.
Okay.
And by the way, Randy Cooper was the CEO for many years here in Wichita Falls of the Boys and Girls Club, and really saw a lot of leadership and growth and changes in the club. And so Mrs. Wolf has been overseas. I'm assuming she's been working at least in the field, and probably been working for the Boys and Girls Club. I don't know that for sure. We'll try to get her on at some point here, but she's actually worked overseas.
Okay.
And but she's now the CEO of the local Wichita Falls Boys and Girls Club, and she said her leadership approach begins with listening, learning from the kids and families and staff who shaped the Boys and Girls Club of Wichita Falls.
All right. Well, cool.
Congratulations on the new chapter for the Boys and Girls Club, and good luck. And we will try to get Mrs. Wolf on in the next few months. It's kind of one of those deals. It's kind of like when we had Maria Jaimes in for the chamber.
Right.
There's a new chamber president, but she just started a week ago.
Right.
And so you kind of want to give those people. I mean, they don't know where the bathroom is.
Yeah.
You want to give them a few days to try to get in. It's kind of like we did with Jeff Jenkins, city manager, and Corey Edmonds, the CEO of the hospital. Yep. We didn't try to call them day of and get them in here.
No.
It's because if you're the news and you're making an announcement, hey, they're here, and you're going to be on there for 2 minutes or a minute and a half, and they're going to go say, hey, I'm blah, 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 happy to be here, yeah. But this is a long-form interview.
Right.
We're going to go into depth about, hey, where'd you go? Where are you from? What do you do?
What do you got going here?
What are your plans? What are your plans and all that? And so we don't want to hit somebody up the day they just get here and try to get in.
Absolutely. So, but So what else we got going here?
The downtown development, Downtown Proud, Downtown Wichita Falls, Downtown Development, they've had a lot of different names over the years. Yeah. Kind of dropped a bombshell after their board meeting and said that they were going to not keep the art walk going.
Right. Yeah.
And the art walk's a big deal. And Tim Short, Mayor Tim Short, said, not on my watch.
Yeah, right.
So they're trying to figure out a way. The city's going to work on figuring out a way to keep the art walk going.
Right.
Now, to be fair, I know a lot of people started poo-pooing the downtown development. And I'm not defending nor poo-pooing what they do. I really don't know much about what they've done. I know they put on some pretty amazing stuff.
Right.
I know they're cutting back on some things. But it's like any organization that relies on volunteers are getting harder and harder to come by.
Right.
And this art walk,
it grew.
Can you imagine what the logistics of that?
Oh, sure.
I mean, and then you got to clean up.
Well, yeah.
After it's all said and done, so I imagine the logistics got overwhelming for the amount of volunteers that they had, and they said, "Hey, we can't support this and do a good job at it."
Right. Well, and they had some funding cuts as well.
There was some funding cuts.
So I think all of it kind of came to a head, and it's like, hey, we want to. I'm guessing from what I've read that their idea is that let's focus in on some very specific things, and not get overwhelmed with this, and they just had to make a hard decision.
Well, instead of doing 10 things mediocre, you're going to go three or four things really well.
Right. And it evolved over time. It became a bigger deal than they imagined.
Exactly. Yeah. The art walk was just a few people in one street, and then it's gone over to where it's, 6th Street and 8th Street and Scott Street and over to Ohio and all that.
So don't jump to conclusions. There was a lot of flack thrown around on social media.
I fucking hate Facebook warriors. You are such a piece of shit if all you could do is get on there and go, I'm going to say something on Facebook, me, but you don't do shit but sit on your ass.
There you go. Tell us what you really think.
Oh, my God, I hate that.
So, yeah.
People who just want to complain and bitch and moan but not do a goddamn thing to make things better.
Absolutely. And so anyway, but even after multiple press releases and everything else, people are still making up stuff or speaking completely out of ignorance.
They're talking out of their ass.
That's right.
And what they're doing. But no, they're not even talking because they don't have the balls to go and talk at a meeting.
Yes.
They're typing out of their ass while they're sitting on their ass.
Yep.
I hate that shit.
So anyway,
get involved. By the way, new idea. If you want to change something, why don't you do something about it?
There you go.
Why don't you get involved? Go volunteer.
Yep.
I guarantee you, downtown Wichita Falls would love to have more volunteers.
Yep.
They would love to have Art Walk. Do you think that they didn't want Art Walk anymore? I mean, do you think the people down there were like, screw that? If they had unlimited resources, they had all the volunteers they need, do you think they would want to just get rid of this? Why? For what reason?
Right.
There's so much good. It's part of their mission.
Yep.
It's just you have to pick and choose.
Yep.
So I'm sorry. I get so wound up when people want to trash people and you're not doing anything yourself.
Right. And here's what I'm sort of life's philosophy that I kind of live by is that what you focus on is what you get. If you focus on negative all the time, that's what you're going to see. You're going to that's what's going to happen in your life. That's not to say that you cause bad things to happen as far as health and those kinds. But there's something to that, at least for me. And I think for the people that I've known, and yourself included, that focusing on negative just really, really is, and even right now, it's a frustrating thing that when we see the negativity, it kind of brings something out in us.
It's just ridiculous.
But to be able to turn that around and see because adversity happens. Bad things do happen. Yeah. And so we try our best. I know, at least my attitude is, we just try to focus in on what you can control. That is the other thing. What happens in Washington, it can flow a little bit down to us, but it means more what happens here in our town. And let's just focus on good things. And and don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Right? When if you go and deal with other people and you're wanting to have something happen, because there's so many, I've tried that. I've tried talking to them or whatever. Well, you know what? If you
which most of the time is bullshit, by the way.
Right.
I don't know how many times when I was on the school board, people I went and talked to the school board. It's like, I've never seen you.
Yeah. So they.
By the way, you've never been to a meeting. You've never. So I think there's a lot of people who say they've done this. I've talked to them. And I've talked to that. It's also the same thing as when you hear people that have a disagreement at a store and they go, they told me to get out of here. And I'm like, really? I mean, every once in a while, but you have to push a retailer because, by the way, they rely on you being in there to pay the bills. Right. So you've got to push somebody way past.
Oh yeah. You know what? We have customers come in and they're mad because their device isn't working and they're really, and you know what? If you learn some skills about how to deal with customers, you can generally turn things around to where they understand if you take the time and to listen to them. If you just show you're listening, even if oftentimes you can't do anything about it. It's done. But listening and then reflecting that I'm here to help.
And that's not just customers, that's just a general relationship.
Well, absolutely, yeah. But in particular, so anyway.
So after all that, the point is, the city council is going to try to find a way to fund Art Walk.
Absolutely.
It's a huge thing. It's really good for a lot of it's good for downtown.
Yep.
It's good for a lot of the local artists and a lot of the people not just artists, but also the crafts. There's a lot of people who make arts and crafts at home and sell little tchotchkes and stuff. Yeah. It's good. So the city's going to see what they can do.
Yep. But the good thing about it is that what it's become such a big hit. It was successful, and sometimes successful things doesn't make it easy. And so by because they've got security and safety and cleaning up and all that kind of stuff, and there's a cost. And I think the city looks like with mayor's backing, it looks like they're looking to try to pick up some of those reins, and work with them.
By the way, if you're somebody who's been jumping up and down about Art Walk going away, why don't you volunteer?
There you
I'm
go.
Sure they're going to need volunteers to put that on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Here, let's skip past. Let's just follow right here what we had and go to the Flash vote. This is something that Terry McAdams has been banging the drum on ever since.
Every time I have an opportunity to talk to the mayor, each mayor.
Every time we've had a city official of any kind on the radio or on the podcast, every single time without fail, it's almost like I can put my watch by it that Terry's going to bring up surveys.
Yeah, ask
customer satisfaction surveys.
Yeah, CSAT, exactly. And that, because I'm measured by it. Apple does it. I do my own. And I want to know the reality of how we're doing. And that's why the city just seemed to not, because you can't just go on what you hear, because again, people complain and they overemphasize things. They make up stuff.
Yeah.
But so you want to know reality. People who will take the time to fill something out, I think that means something. And
sometimes,
a
lot of times it does.
Right,
I totally agree.
Right. And
also you're going to get the real, because it's hard. It's very difficult to walk up to somebody, look them in the eye, and say, "I think you're doing a horrible job."
Yeah.
Or I don't like this about you.
Right.
It's hard to do. It takes a lot of. You got to be really pissed off.
Right.
And there's a lot of times that we might be disappointed in something, but you're not flaming angry.
No, but you want to provide some feedback.
But you want to provide feedback.
Yeah.
And by the way, don't just be negative on this. If there's good feedback, and that's something I do, and I'm gonna throw this out there as just something that this is a Tracerala thing that I've done for many, many years. If you get really good service somewhere, or by
positive stuff too,
please take the time, because I'm going to tell you, when you're the boss, when you're the general manager or the owner or whatever, and somebody says, "I want to talk to the owner, I want to talk to the general manager," you know that about 80% of the time you're about to get your ass chewed out for something that you didn't do.
Right.
By the way, now you're responsible for it. I'm not shirking responsibility, but you didn't do that. You didn't drop the ball here.
Right.
So when somebody does something good,
and
I'm not talking about just does what they're supposed to do. I'm talking about it gives you exceptional service or whatever. Try to find the general manager, seek somebody out, make a phone call, send them an email or whatever, and say, "Hey, so-and-so did really well." And I've done that with the city several times. When we've had a pipe break right outside of our building, and all of a sudden there were 15 guys out there working on that thing, trying to get it fixed. I called the city and said, "Hey," called the water department. Say, "Just so you know, your guys came out here. They were out here fast, and they got this thing done in a hurry."
Right. Saw it as a priority and took care of it.
You need to hear that. And I would walk my ass out there and tell everybody, "Hey, guys, thank y'all. I really appreciate you guys getting out here and getting this done fast." And I'm going to tell you, I don't do it. I do it because I think it's the right thing to do. But I do also believe the whole thing, you catch more bees with honey than you do vinegar.
Absolutely.
People are more likely to want to help you and do things for you if they know that you're not going to be obstinate and critical of it. If you're going to be, and you're going to be thankful for it. People like being appreciated.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. Nobody likes to feel unappreciated.
Yeah. Common decency is there, and that you're just show positivity. I mean, that's again, you can see people who just, I've worked with several people over the years that you just walk in and you don't even want to be around them.
Oh no,
because they're so negative, right? They just it's just like they suck the energy out of you. They're just negative, and so there's plenty of negative out there. Then if we all took a chance and said good things to somebody, tell them how they're doing good. Even that applies in your family. And sometimes, don't you have occasionally an employee who's maybe kind of right there? They might screw up more often than you probably like, but sometimes and a lot of times that's because they're nervous or whatever, new on the job. But if you can find something positive, look for it. Go out of your way,
but don't lie.
Oh, absolutely.
No. Don't give false praise.
No.
Don't give false compliments.
Right.
Because that's first off, you're pumping people full of something they shouldn't, they don't deserve and they don't need. It's not good for them.
Right.
But secondly, if you get known as that, I mean, I like to think that the people that know me know that if I give you a compliment, it is genuine. Right. I do not give false praise.
Right.
I could not like you at all or not like something about you, and I'm not going to be saying anything. I just won't say anything at all. I may not because I'm not going to be confrontational for somebody for no reason.
Right.
Put it this way: if you ever have a confrontation with me, You started it. I promise you.
Yeah.
I absolutely, now I will get confrontational if you force me to go there, but you've chosen that path because I promise you, I
try
don't.
to de-escalate.
Absolutely.
You're a de-escalator, right.
If Terry
Yeah, me
walked in
too.
here today and said, Trey, I'm about to kick your ass, I'd say, Terry, sit down and let's have a talk about it.
Well,
But that's,
yeah.
I mean,
'Cause
seriously,
there's
that's
something
just,
behind it, or there's more to it than
that's
just that.
That's how I believe in being. I'm not a confrontational person. I don't believe in screaming and hollering to get my way or anything like that. So if I do to give you a compliment, I mean it, and it's genuine. So basically, what they're doing on this flash vote is it's a system. It's a polling system, so they go. Let's see here. It's a survey. Residents will sign up or receive a survey through either email, text, or phone call. When a new survey is released, you'll get a notification, and then once closed, everybody who participated will receive the survey results.
Okay.
Sign up takes less than a minute, and everyone's input is kept anonymous.
I'm doing it. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm going to be doing it.
To
But
sign up, visit the official sign-up page, and I'm not going to give the phone number here because if I do, nobody's going to remember it. Nobody's sitting here writing it down with a pen in their hand. But anyhow, so go ahead and sign up for it. It's a great idea. Make your voice heard. And also, even if you just want to answer and you want to see what everybody else is thinking, you get the results of the survey.
Yep. Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's because that oftentimes it's just going out of their way to do it. They're saying you show the interest, then we're going to send it to you. Send all the information down. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
I do too.
Thanks.
So.
That you can take credit for the idea.
Yeah. Terry has been banging that drum, and I give I give you credit. You've been banging that drum ever since, and I'm not. Yeah, it wasn't just you, but the more times you talk to people,
right,
and say, hey, this is an idea. This is how you plant seeds.
Right. Exactly. And don't give up on seeds. Right. And if you just gently, just dropping the idea, planting that seed, the whole bit, and we're just absolutely. And I'm thankful for the city for doing that.
Absolutely. Okay.
So.
Our last let's do one more story before our guest comes in. Punxsutawney Phil gave us his prognostication at Gobbler's Knob. Can you think of a worse name of a town? During the annual groundhog celebration, predicting 6 more weeks of winter.
Yeah, well, we'll see. How accurate is he? Have we looked that up?
No, I haven't. I haven't looked to see the official stats on it.
Maybe our guest knows since he's in the media.
But I think so. We'll see. But I will say the National Weather Service is saying, I've read somewhere that they say that within 2 weeks they're expecting a polar Arctic something.
Cold stuff.
Yeah, we're supposed to get another cold snap.
Okay, well.
So, but that's what Punxsutawney Phil says.
Punxsutawney, yes. All right.
All right. Our guest is come on.
Yeah,
in,
we did the live
transition
switch here. Yeah, we're just like a TV station in a way, just a mini version of it. But see, you're off screen, right? And then now you're here, and we switch it on over, and there we go.
Look there.
And,
Look at there. Yeah. Terry's punching the buttons over there.
That's his job. He's the punch. If it was up to me, there's no telling. It'd be a picture of that and over there.
Hey, that's the way we do things at the station with us too. Is MJ's like the tech guy, he can handle all that kind of stuff. I just sit there and talk.
Yeah. Well, Tobin McDuff, and we're so happy to have you in here. And I'm not. We just talked about I don't give false praise at all, but literally, you are a local sportscasting legend. I mean, you've been doing this a long time in Wichita Falls, and you've covered everything. You've covered all the big stories. And we were fortunate enough that I got to interview you for a radio show I used to do on the ESPN thing a few years ago, and the story is very fascinating. So before we get into the new stuff, would you kind of tell everybody how you started, how you got here, and right in that camera right there, you know how that works.
So yeah, I mean, I knew what I wanted to do since I was 8 years old. I had a journalist from the ABC station in Detroit. I grew up in Michigan. I'm wearing my Pistons gear.
Yes, I noticed that, yeah. I thought you were going to come here and hip check me with Bill Lambier or something going on.
I'm more of a Brick Mahorn guy.
Okay, yeah.
But I knew what I wanted to do when I was 8 years old. This journalist showed up on Flag Day and did a stand-up in my school, and I got to stand next to her, and then I went home and I saw myself on TV that night, and I was just so fascinated by that. And my love of sports has existed since I can remember. And so I knew I wanted to be a sportscaster. And my mom would watch the news every single night. And I was supposed to be in bed. And I would crawl over to the door of my bedroom, when the news came on at 11 o'clock in Michigan. And I'd wait until the sports came on, and I'd repeat word after word what the sportscaster would say. And sometimes my mom would yell at me and say, "You need to get back to bed, Tobin." And sometimes she just kind of knew that was part of my routine at night, and I would do that. And thankfully, I went to Central Michigan University, and I remember sitting at an orientation and having someone up in the front say, look at the person on your left, because that person is not going to graduate from CMU. They're going to graduate from somewhere else, or they won't graduate at all. And look at the person on your right, because that person's going to change their major between now and 4 years or when they graduate. And I was like, no, I'm here for 4 years. I'm getting a degree in broadcast journalism, and I'm going to start my career. And that's what I did. I went to school for 4 years and got into the business.
Well, that's cool.
But the fascination of coming to Wichita Falls.
Okay.
Tell everybody how you ended up because Michigan, you probably had never heard of Wichita Falls before you.
You're correct.
Yeah, there's no reason to. If you grew up in Michigan, I don't. What town did you grow up in?
I grew up in Brighton, Michigan.
See, I never heard of Brighton, Michigan
never heard
before.
of that.
Yeah, I've heard of Brighton, England, but not Brighton, Michigan.
I always have to tell people I grew up 14 miles north of Ann Arbor.
Yeah,
and most people will
know
know
where
where
that
Ann
is.
Arbor is.
But that's how people go. Especially, the world has shrunk for us. There's so much media stuff. You see things on TV. People know everybody all over the country. But until the internet happened, unless you grew up in a major place, nobody knew where it was. Everybody used to say where they'd say from Dallas. If they were from the Dallas area, they may be from Arlington, they may be from Irving, whatever. Yeah. But if you said all that, nobody know where it is. They'd say Dallas. So how did you get to Wichita Falls?
Well, after I graduated, my goal was to have a job in the industry within a year. I knew it wasn't an easy industry to crack into, and especially in sports, because when you look at a staff of a TV station, typically in a small market, we're blessed. We have 3 people in our sports department right now, but typically you have 2 people. You typically have 3 weather people, and then you have a staff of maybe 12 to 15 news people. So it's easier to get a news job. So after I graduated, I worked bagging groceries. I worked as a courier for a title insurance company, and I sent, at the time, VHS tapes out with resumes, and I sent them out across the country to TV stations and trying to find a job, and got rejection letter after rejection letter. Most of them, you just never hear back from. I will tell you that when 1 year hit, it hit me hard. It was like depression. It's like, this is what I've wanted to do my entire life. I want to be a sportscaster, and that year hit, and I didn't know what to do. And so for the first time in my life, I prayed and I listened. I've prayed before. I had prayed before that point, but I had never just sat and listened and soaked in, what do I do now? I was at a rock bottom point, and God told me, you need to go get the job. The job's out there waiting for you. You need to find it. It's out there waiting for you. You need to go find it, though, physically, not just sending stuff out. So I went into work that following Monday and said, it was actually a Friday, and I'm like, I'm not coming back on Monday. I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm going to find a job in broadcast journalism, so fill my position. And so I took off. I was driving a little red Saturn at the time.
Wow.
And I packed it up, and
you can hit the doors on that thing, and they won't dent.
They don't. That was my first car that I got myself, and so that was a special car for me. But I was like, okay, I'm heading somewhere to get a job. Well, my dad grew up in Texas. My dad's from Texas. He grew up in East Texas, and we vacationed down here. And I was like, even as a little kid, I loved the passion that Texans have for the state. And I was like, I want to go back to Texas. I want to go to Texas, and that's where I want to start my career. And so I took off in my Saturn with not enough money to survive, essentially. So I was sleeping in my car overnight. My first stop was in Kearney, Nebraska. And I stopped at an ABC station there, just showed up on the doorstep, knocked on the door, and said, hey, I'm looking for a job. Here's my reel. And, they told me politely that they didn't have anything. And so I just came on down. My next stop was in Lawton. Now, mind you, what you said earlier about not knowing what towns are like, at that time, you didn't have the internet, and, and I couldn't just pull out my phone to find out where I was going, so I had a Rand McNally atlas that I would open up, and I was highlighting. I wish I still had that atlas. Maybe I do. I don't know. I'm kind of a hoarder. I may still have it somewhere, but I just highlighted the larger towns, and I'm like, these larger towns all must have. I didn't even keep the places where I had sent resumes to previously. I was just highlighting the larger towns. And I stopped in Lawton at KSWO, and they said, no, we don't have anything. And so the next stop was like, you know what? I'm on my way into Texas now. And I stopped at Channel 6 first. That was the first place I stopped. And Andy Austin answered the door.
Ironically, Andy Austin, another legendary. I mean, he's not in it anymore, but for many, many years was a sportscaster.
100%. I mean, I look up to Andy Austin. I mean, he's a trailblazer in this community for what he did. And he said, no, he said, I'm sorry. You know, we don't have a position open, but there's one down in another TV station right down the road. And now the part that I skipped about this is when I actually pulled up to, this was in July that I was traveling across the country. And there is like a little an Army Reserve building, like right around the corner from KAUZ, and I pulled up there, and this is the middle of July, so I'm traveling in shorts and a T-shirt. But you don't want to show up in shorts and a T-shirt when you're trying to get a job. So I pulled up, got out of my car, got all my clothes together, and stripped down just so I could put on a dress shirt and a sport coat and, you know, I put on my suit. Well, while I'm standing there in boxers, and I look up, and there's an older woman standing out in her yard, in her garden, just looking at me, and she scurries off into the house. Well, you know, I'm young. I'm 2,000 miles from home. I'm like, oh, gosh, she's going in to call the cops. And, you know, I'm standing out here in my boxer shorts. And so I hurry and get all my clothes on and everything. And as I'm getting dressed, I'm buttoning up my shirt. I look up, and there's a second woman standing out there, and they're just looking at me. So I'm like, okay, I'm safe. They're just here for the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Andy said, you know, there's another station down the road, and I went down there, and I knocked on the back door, the side door of the building.
And what day of the week was this?
This was a Saturday.
Yeah.
This was a Saturday.
Yeah. This wasn't all the office people were there, and
No, Ken Peterson.
Fascinating.
Ken Peterson answered the door, and Ken Peterson was the weekend news anchor at the time. And Ken said, well, he said, you know, everybody's gone. It's Oil Bowl, and you know, everybody's out, and there's nobody here. At
you said
station.
it's a what? Right. What's an Oil Bowl?
Okay. I later found out.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
A good thing. So he said, but you know what? There's a couple of positions that just opened up this past week. He said there's a reporter position and a producer position. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great to know. So I went and I sat in the parking lot, and I was like, I prayed again, because I'm like, I looked at my Rand McNally Atlas, and I had Abilene highlighted, I had Amarillo highlighted, I had Lubbock highlighted. So those were other towns that I was going to head to next. But I sat there and I prayed, and once again I just listened. I'm like, Lord, what do I do? You know, and He said, you're staying here. You're staying here. You're coming back.
So it's fair to say you're not an atheist.
I'm not an atheist. I'm not an atheist. And so, where do I go from here? So I went to a grocery store parking lot. I needed to get something to eat, and I met a gentleman in the parking lot. And I said, "Hey," I said, "where is there someplace that I can stay inexpensive?" I decided that I wasn't going to sleep in my car until Monday, so I needed a place for Saturday night and Sunday night. I said, "I need someplace cheap." You know, I mean, but safe. I don't know the area. And so he said, well, why don't you follow me? And I remember, I wish I could track this person down. He was an older gentleman at the time, so I don't know if he's still with us or not, but he had a judge I remember his license plate had something about him being a judge.
Oh, wow.
And anyway, he took me to this hotel, and he said, you'll be just good, you know, staying here. So I got a room for 2 nights. And that Saturday night, I'll tell you what, I've never felt more safe in a hotel, because I had what I thought at the time, I guess, was like police escorts or protection, because there were police lights outside my room, my bedroom window both nights. I don't know what was going on. I have no clue what was going on out there. I didn't go out to check, but I stayed at the Trade Winds for 2 nights.
Okay.
And, there was something going on in that parking lot both nights. But, I stayed at the Trade Winds. I showed back up on the doorstep first thing on Monday morning at KFDX, and Scott Kopenbarger was the news director at the time.
Scott,
he was a longtime news anchor at KFDX as well, and I sat down and I interviewed and talked with him about the positions that were open. And Heidi Collins was the morning news anchor at that time. And Heidi Collins, she left and she went on to Colorado Springs, and she was on CNN for several years after that as well. But Heidi she kind of ran the show for that morning show. And so Scott had me interview with her as well. And she was from Minnesota. I was from Michigan, kind of that Midwest connection. And we sat down. They put me through a writing test, a typewriter test. And
a typewriter is one of those things.
We were doing a live TikTok during our newscast last night, and I was explaining a typewriter, and I was explaining our scripts being on carbon copy paper. And anyway, they interviewed me and they hired me, and they said, when can you start? And I said, as soon as possible. And
please.
My start date was the 4th of July. In 1995.
Wow. So, that's the year I got here, actually.
In 95?
Yep, 95. Yeah. The Air Force brought me here, but that's cool.
His journey was a little different. Than
a little bit different.
He didn't show up in a Saturn.
No.
So I mean, I showed up, and they didn't hire me for the on-air position. They hired me for the producer position. So I was coming in the mornings. I'd get to work at 3 or 4 in the morning. And help put together those morning shows and newscasts. And then when Heidi left a short time later, the news director, at that time we had a change in news director, and Lynn Marshall became the news director. And Lynn says, nobody knows that show better than you. Why don't you become the new morning news anchor? So I actually started working as the morning news anchor. That was my first on-air position.
I don't remember that. I mean, just don't remember that.
A lot of people don't remember me doing the news.
I always remember you doing sports.
Yeah. And then, and when I hired, they actually hired me under the premise that, hey, you'll be the morning producer, but when a position opens up in sports, you can move into that position. Okay. And the first position to open up was that morning news anchor position. So I did that for about a year, and a sports position had opened up in that year, and Lynn Marshall convinced me. He's like, well, people are just getting used to you in the morning. Do you mind waiting until the next sports position opens up? And so I said, I was young in the business. I'm like, I'm going to listen to whoever. I just want the job.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'll stay doing the morning news. And I ended up doing that for about a year before something opened up in sports.
Yeah, but now your journey through all of that, you didn't know what it was going to look like, right? I mean, you as you already point out,
right?
But you had that focus that I want this one thing, and it doesn't go direct. It's a path that's not what you think, and so 100%. I think that's
and Terry, I felt I had the ambition. And I had the desire, and I wanted to prove myself. Mm-hmm. So even when I came in and I was producing the morning show, I would work until 1 o'clock, and then at 1 o'clock, I would just basically donate my time to the station because I wanted to put stories together. Right. So I was hired in July. My first story actually aired during November of 1995, and I did a series of... Basically, do you remember MTV Cribs, where you get to go into people's, celebrities' homes? I wanted to go inside some of these homes in Wichita Falls that, like, when you drive by them, you're like, I wonder who lives there, what it's like in that house. Yeah. So I did that. I put a story together on the President's Mansion, a story in the country club area that kind of looks like the White House on the outside. Got to go inside of there, and the families took me on tours of their homes. I did 3 different homes, and I can't remember where the other one was.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Well,
but it is you're right, it is a testament. Your whole story is a testament to, if you'll stick to it, and you'll stay focused on it.
Yep.
Now, you're not always going to achieve your goals, but your chances of achieving your goals are exponentially higher
Right.
than if you just try to take the easy path in the road. And by the way, what you said as well, working for free, that's how I stayed at Eddie Hill's Fun Cycles. I was hired temporary, part-time. They told me, said, at the end of the year, at the end of the summer, you're going to be gone, because I was the forklift, basically, the put-together guy and the forklift. And during lunchtime, I went up front and learned how to do the parts system because I liked it better than my other part-time job. And I donated my time, my lunch hour, to learn that.
You enjoyed it.
Yeah. And so you're right. There's a lot of times if you'll donate your time and don't worry about getting paid every nickel all the time,
Well,
sometimes it can lead to something.
You can get those nickels down the road.
Exactly.
Right. Well, and
turn into dollars instead of nickels. That's right.
yeah, well, in the IT side of things, a lot of people will go and donate their time. They don't know anything, but they work with their church and the technology. They try to help out and doing the pro presenter stuff, and they learn there, and then they come and they actually have something, and they didn't get paid a dime, but that volunteer got them into that volunteerism, helped out. So
you've been on the air in sports since when did you start in the sports?
Sports, so I got hired in 95. I went on air doing news in 96, and then in 97 I moved into the sports department.
Now, were you at the time? Were there multiple sports people, or were
it was me and Susan Knowles?
I remember Susan.
Susan.
Yeah.
It was me and Susan Knowles that were in the sports department. And we're the ones that kicked off and started Friday Night Football here in Texoma, and I've been blessed over the years. I've worked with some great people, and glad to call them still friends. I still keep in contact with Susan.
What's she doing these days?
She does pharmaceutical sales. She works down in the Metroplex.
That's awesome.
She's got kids now that are in college. She's got her son's like this incredible runner. And he's in college, and they've got 2 kids. She married Jeff Martin, who Jeff was a coach in the area. He coached at Henrietta and Archer City, and So I get to keep in contact with, and it's funny how your career changes, because when I was younger, it was me, and it was about me kind of figuring out how I can move up the ladder and accomplish new things and have new experiences. And now it's a matter of when we hire people, I'm like, I want to get this person to the next level. And I think it's kind of, you talk about head coaches in the NFL or in college football about having like a coaching tree.
That's right. Yeah.
And I understand that now as I get on the later side of my career, that coaching tree is something that you take a lot of pride in. And so, we've got people that have moved on to bigger and better things, if you will. We've got Orlando Sanchez, who is in Portland, and we've got Ricardo LeCompte in New Orleans, and we've got Ruthie Polinsky in Chicago, and I mean, there's a tree of people that have worked in the sports department, and I'm just so proud to see the success that they have. I mean, I just love watching, going on my phone and what I couldn't do with the Rand McNally Atlas now.
Exactly.
I can see what's going on across the world and see what they're doing.
I think what you said is right, but it's also easier to do that as you get on your career a little bit, because you feel more confident. You feel more comfortable in your position. But if you're good. Now, if you're not good and you don't have confidence in yourself, you're always looking over your shoulder. But yeah, if you're good and you have confidence in yourself, there's no reason not to try to put that ladder down for the next person.
I think that sometimes you can get into a position where you feel as if, man, if I train this person too well, that they're just going to take my job and my job's going to be obsolete. Yeah. And I don't think that that's the way you should look at things.
Well, first off, you're good.
You should. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, you're really good at what you do, so you don't have. You should have the confidence in yourself. But
I appreciate that. I care, and I think that's the most important part in this industry is that you care. One of the things that I tell people when they get hired here, and most of them come here with the expectation of being here for 2 or 3 years. I've been lucky with MJ Baird because MJ Baird's been here over 5 years now. Great friendship. I mean, we're coworkers, but we're friends, and I love that about this industry is you do become tight. But I just feel as if you need to be able to help people get better at what they do. And I want to see other people achieve what their goals are.
Right. Well, and that right there also is a testament about the kind of person you are. Just, I mean, it absolutely, because you're willing to help others, and you're confident, and like you kind of talked about, if you're confident in what you're doing, but you also found your niche, and you've, I mean, clearly, I'm just going to ask you, what was your ultimate thought? Did you have in 20 years, did you think, or 10 years, or, what's different?
Absolutely. Terry, when I started out, I was like any other, young kid getting into the industry. I think you looked at ESPN as like the ultimate goal. Mm-hmm. And so here's how it unfolded for me, is I got into Wichita Falls, and, I got into the industry doing some producing and stuff, just getting a taste of it. And then I started doing a little bit of on-air work, and then I got promoted into being on air, anchoring the news in the morning, and then I got into the sports department. So quickly, within about a 3-year span, I kind of took a few steps up the ladder. Mm-hmm. And then once I got into doing sports, it's like, okay, I settled into this routine and loved it. I was doing what I wanted to do. And crazy enough, I was there for 10 years working as the weekend person with Susan Knowles. And I think probably when I got to about the 8th year or so, I started to get hungry. I was like, man, I need something else. I need a new experience. But at that point, we had the Cowboys come here, so there was something new. It was a new challenge. We had hockey come to Wichita Falls. There were new things that I got to experience that kind of gave me a little bit of taste of something new. And then
so something kept you here, where because like you said, the typical path is you come here, you kind of make your bones a little bit here in Wichita Falls, and that's not unusual actually in a lot of industries. The school business is that way. I mean, there's a lot of turnover because Wichita Falls is that mid-level market where it's 100,000 people but it's not 1 million people,
right?
Or 200,000 people, or whatever. So so that's interesting that something always kept you here because there was something new. You're a good enough journalist. You could have, I'm sure, easily found a larger market.
And I've had other offers over the years. Earlier in my career, to move to different locations. But like you said, something came up new every year. I probably, like, when I got to that 8-year mark, I kind of got that itch that I'm like, okay, I'm becoming a little bit stagnant here. Mm-hmm. Something needs to change. Well, Susan left, and then I became the sports director, so that gave me, a little bit of new life and a new breath. And then at that point, we started expanding kind of the way we looked at sports. We do our local stuff, but I feel it's important to especially give that weekend person something exciting in their life, that they get to do that's above and beyond, the Wichita Falls area. So I've been going to spring training. I'm heading to spring training later this month with the Texas Rangers. I've been doing that for over a decade now. I've been blessed to do a lot of different things, cover the Super Bowl and the NBA Finals and the World Series. And the weekend person, MJ Baird went down and covered every Dallas Cowboys game this year. If there's an event at AT&T Stadium, odds are we're going to get credentials for it. And it's kind of like, okay, here's the perk of all the hard work that you put in for Texoma.
Right.
Go put a story together on what's happening at AT&T Stadium and experience that.
So I got a question for you, technology related. So how has AI changed or affected your job?
Super nerd.
Yeah, I know.
You will see some
He's
things.
not even really Tobin McDuff. He's in his AI.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm a hologram.
His agent, yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Me personally don't use it that much. I kind of dabble in it because I'm more curious than anything. Some of the graphics that we do, we now have that are done with AI that they use. Sometimes I'll run a script through AI just to see really what the difference is. See, maybe it'll catch a spelling error or something in there, or maybe it'll give me a different idea. Mm-hmm. I've noticed that it doesn't. You can't just use whatever AI spits.
Oh no, absolutely not.
It's. I mean, so often it brings back factual errors that are
absolutely.
You might end up in jail.
and it takes away the personality and the humanness.
Right.
And I think that that's probably the most important part that local news can bring to you is that people need to understand. People get on the media. And the media is all lumped in together, and we're not all the same.
Of course not.
And I think local news, I think that the people that live here should trust local news probably more than they do national news, just because we're a part of this community too.
Yeah, we live here. Yeah,
we live here, and we shop at the grocery stores, and I mean,
it's the same thing as I've said about politics. It drives me bonkers when everybody wants to focus on Washington. Good luck calling President Trump. Good luck calling Ted Cruz or John Cornyn. Good luck. Most of the time people can't even go. A lot of people can't even get a hold of their state or their state representative.
Right.
But you can build relationships with your state senator, your local representatives, and then your county, your city, your school district. Yep. And those are the people you need. I agree. Those people have much more effect on your day-to-day life. The same as the local news has much more effect on your day-to-day life or what's going on that's going to affect you today than something that's on Fox News or CNN.
100% agree with you. My wife worked in Washington, D.C. for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And it just burned her out. She moved back to Burke-Burnett, Texas, and that's when I met her, and then we got married. But, the politicians that are in Washington, D.C., she'll tell you, she'll say they want to get a job so they can keep a job. As soon as they get elected and as soon as they get into the position, their job at that point is to figure out how to get reelected. It's not
every
not
2 years,
especially the House of Representatives, where you're always campaighting.
It's not about serving the community anymore. It's about how do I get reelected.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
So,
that's cool.
We don't have enough time to ask you. I mean, you could go for a million stories, but okay. So give us your top three. In your mind, in your whole career in Texoma, what would be your top three sports stories? It doesn't have to be anything particular.
Oh, my goodness.
Texoma sports stories.
Wow.
Even your top one or two.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Talia Brooks is an incredible story.
Huge. And you've done a great job covering her and talking to her.
Well, and she's another person that I can shoot a text to, and we become more than just an athlete and a reporter. Yeah. I consider Talia and her family to be friends.
Yep. Good people, by the way. Good whole families.
Yes. I mean, it all started when she was doing a story when she was about 6 years old, and I interviewed the girls, and it just started at that point. But, I mean, I think when you have an Olympian, I know for me, from a young age, I looked forward. I'm so looking forward to the Olympics.
Absolutely.
Coming up.
I've already gone on Peacock and selected the stuff that I want to watch. I'm big into curling, believe it or not.
I was watching curling yesterday, and I was going to watch a women's hockey game yesterday, but it got postponed because the Finnish team was sick and they couldn't play Canada yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it was on USA Network. I'm already starting to watch the Olympics. Yeah, the opening ceremonies haven't even taken place yet, but they do start playing some games ahead of time. But I think having an Olympian from this area and being able to see her career from such a young age to where she's at now is near the top, if not the top story. I think that you'd have to look at people that are achieving the goals that they have set out for them, and you have athletes like L.J. Collier and Monday who goes on to the NFL.
Or Chip McBride, Skip McBride. He'd say Monday. It's his Monday.
Monday.
So anyway,
you've got people like Chase Anderson and Ryan Brazier who go on to play professional baseball, but it's also in the athletes.
Skip Hicks.
Yeah,
Skip Hicks,
who played professional football.
Yep. Yeah, and I've developed a great friendship with Charles Hicks as well. And I mean, and the relationships that you develop with these coaches, because we work the same hours, and we kind of have. It's a different career, but it's
you need each other.
They're combined.
You need each other.
Yes.
You if they don't exist, you don't have anything to talk about. Right. But you're the one that helps promote them and helps promote what's going on with them, and so it's important to have that symbiotic relationship.
I love those relationships, and we talk about the athletes that have achieved greatness in the Olympics or professionally, but there's something still so special about seeing Windthorst beat Mart for a state championship game, and it was during COVID. You know, we had to stand in the first row at the AT&T Stadium to shoot the highlights, and it's special to see athletes go to UIL state and win at track and field, or any time that they achieve the ultimate goal that they had set out to at the beginning of the
Riders
season.
has how many 3 or 4 state soccer tournaments championships?
Right. Well, and now I think the Next Star Sports Awards has become something that I'm very proud of.
Which I was going to ask you about that. When is that going to be this year?
It's going to be on July the 9th at DL Coliseum.
This is it's a great event.
Yes, and I mean, I had this desire to create something like this, a local ESPYs, 15 some years ago, and we finally got it. It took about 10 years of just brainstorming and saying, let's do this to the people that can make the decisions that we're going to do it. And finally, I got the call from my GM, Wayne Reed, and he said, let's figure out a way to get this done.
And how long ago was that it started?
So we've done this now. This is going to be the 6th year.
6th year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's it's really great, and I like it. It was at the Impact a couple of years, but I really like it being a DL Ligon.
That was my ultimate goal.
Yeah, but because it's DL Ligon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a famous sports venue.
Yeah, and that's I wanted it big as well, and I like the fact that people can buy dinner seats, and I understand that not everybody, and we give the tickets to the finalists,
Right.
but we do sell tickets for the lower bowl where you get a dinner, and I understand that everybody can't necessarily afford that, but most people can afford, the $5 to get a ticket and sit in the upper bowl and just enjoy the show. It really is. I mean, I have a different vantage point because I'm on the stage and I'm looking out.
Yeah.
But I really do. I feel it's a really cool event. I mean, it's the one time in the year that all of the best, and I say that every year, but I don't know another way to put it into words.
It's about the way you put it.
It's the best of the best in Texoma, those athletes coming into one spot for one evening, and it's the best athletes that have competed over that year. It's the best coaches that we have in our area, and it's some of the historically best athletes and teams that we've ever had in our area. That get together under one roof tonight to celebrate greatness.
It's really a great thing, and the Hall of Fame. I love that. I mean, the fact is, and the neat thing about that is you get to hear people's stories because you don't know what they're going to say when they get up there. I mean, you've talked to them, but you have no clue what speech or. And then also you see some of these families that people have passed. They're not with us anymore, but they get inducted to a Hall of Fame, and it's very touching sometimes to see their kids and go, my dad was my hero, and I wasn't obviously around when he was in high school playing for the Bowie Jackrabbits or whatever it was, but I heard all the stories growing up and it was very meaningful that time in his life, and the notoriety he gained was very meaningful to him, and it's nice to hear those stories from those people firsthand.
And it's you talk about things that you enjoy in my career, and one of the things is once the Hall of Fame committee votes and decides who's going to go in for this year, and our voting is underway, and I should know here within the next 2 weeks who are going to be the inductees this summer, I get to make the phone calls. And if it's an athlete who is deceased and I have to track down family members, that phone call is so rewarding.
Yeah.
Because and the older I get, I think the more emotional I get about things. But it's so rewarding there, because quite often the response is, thank you for not forgetting about my dad, or thank you for not forgetting about my mom. We appreciate that. Yeah. And these are the people that, paved the road that we're on today.
Yeah.
All right.
All righty.
Well, cool.
Tobin, thank you very much for coming in, and tell everybody where they can see you.
Well, they
get a hold of you.
They can typically find me on KFDX at 6 and 10.
That's Channel 3.
Monday through Friday. And, you can always email me at tobin@kfdx.com. If you've got a great story idea that you'd like to share with Texoma, I'd love to hear it. And, just keep watching. And you find us on Texoma's homepage.com and KFDX Plus TV. Download the app.
Yeah, there's an app there. Yeah, that's where the Friday Night Football went to that.
Yeah, we're going to do.
I was watching that. The first couple weeks it was on the regular channel, then it moved to that, and I was watching that.
And we're going to do that again this year. We're going to do 20 minutes on KFDX, and then we're going to move over to the app and do an extended show, which is more laid back, and we try to entertain a little bit.
It's great. It's a great show. Check it out.
All right.
All righty.
Well, good deal. Well, hey,
wrap it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna have to. We got some other things we didn't get to, but this is much more important.
Interesting. We'll talk about the other stuff later.
And
Congress, Clinton, screw them. We'll talk about them next week.
Get my pointer on here. There it goes. I got it. There we go.
Do you need that?
No,
pointer?
I do. I'm not I'm not a highly paid professional.
Join us
here.
next Friday morning, and next week guest is Mark Beecham.
Okay.
He's going to be on, county commissioner is going to be on with us.
All right.
And talking all things Wichita County.
Yep. We'll wrap it up here. Like Mike always said, we'll see you down the road.